Montreal, Vegas. We've got your summary coming up. Okay, Paul, I know you're chomping at the bit to get this one underway.
Ole, 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 ole. Oh, sorry, you were saying, did we start already? As you may see, that it's all come up Johnsy tonight. Montreal in 6, just like I said.
So,
and who would have thought? Arturi Lehtonen. What a goal. So I'm a little pleased.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this might be the moment the editors are going to have to do a quick review to what you said a couple days ago. Cue that review right now.
I think the Montreal crowd will bring this team home in 6, like I've previously predicted. In 6, like I've previously predicted. In 6, like I've previously predicted.
All right. Paul, you just had your say there, and do you want to take a couple moments to say I told you so?
You know what? We all knew it. We just didn't want to believe. Carey Price is on top of the world right now. Cole Caulfield is turning out to be the dominant young superstar in the game. And the role players came up big. All credits due to Vegas. They played wonderful. They were great. Some disappointments that the forwards didn't get a little more involved, but there should be no shame in the loss for them. They were full value. They just came up short.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, if you, I mean, obviously we don't give Stanley Cup semifinal MVP awards, but if you had to give an MVP for this series, who would it be? Cole Caulfield, maybe?
I still think you have to go with Carey Price, because whenever they needed the door shut, he shut the door. Yeah. Although Cole Caulfield was a close second, but I still think it's Carey Price. Right, and he was a man on the mission, right? He has been ever since the get-go. I think he probably knows this is his only shot. Well, maybe not his only shot with the 20-year-old core that's up front. And you've got a kid that we've forgotten about because he's not playing, as Alexander Romanov. He's going to be a star moving forward. It's just not this year. He's a pretty good hockey player. But they've got the savvy veterans right now leading the charge, and everything's firing, and it looks like this could be the year. Obviously, it depends on who they face in the final. Do you have any thoughts of who you would prefer for Montreal to play?
That's the $60,000 question right now, right? I mean, and by the way, I have no idea why I just picked 60,000 as the amount for the big question value rather than 50 or 100,000.
Right. What are we in the 70s or what? $60,000 question.
I was adjusting for inflation retroactively.
That's right. That's right.
No, I mean, yeah. What do you go with in terms of if you have a choice between whether it's the Islanders or Tampa Bay? The problem is that, I mean, Tampa Bay is obviously the potentially more intimidating team in terms of some of the weapons that they have. But if New York actually emerges victorious over Tampa Bay, what does that say about the Islanders and how strong they are? And therefore, do you want to face them? I mean, either way, Montreal's got a tough road in front of them if they're going to come out victorious in the Stanley Cup Finals.
I think, it's odd to say it, but I think I would prefer to face Tampa because Tampa has shown some cracks in their game, and Montreal plays the same or a similar style to the New York Islanders. So I think they match up better at shutting down a team like Tampa and relying on Price than playing a team like the New York Islanders where they're going to match pound for pound in the grit and the banging and tight defensive type game.
For me, it might come down to also the question of who's injured and who's still playing at the end of that series. And if
Yeah, I wonder if a guy like Jeff Petry's a little bit banged up still with I think it's the hand injury from when he got it caught in the glass there. At this stage of the game, there's going to be a lot of guys playing through a lot of soreness issues, and who knows? A guy like Nick Suzuki, he was getting hammered around pretty good this series too. So he's fortunate that he's young and can bounce back from those hits, but McNabb laid a few licks on him tonight for sure.
Yeah. I had the stopwatch going at the end final after the final goal. I was timing exactly, I think it was 3.5 minutes that it took before the first mention of the year 1993. My question for you, Paul, is how much pressure, extra pressure, does a team like Montreal have coming into the finals where, let's face it, they're almost representing an entire country that has been starved of Stanley Cup championships for almost 30 years? Is that extra weight of feeling like everybody from Canada is pushing, pressuring them towards success? Is that a detractor or a benefactor in terms of what it weighs on the Montreal side?
I think it means nothing. I think 93 means nothing. This is a different team. This is a different era. Certainly there is a pressure, but those guys know about playing in pressure anyway. They play in Montreal. So I think they'll embrace it, and I think it's going to be a good final.
I know it's too soon to start talking about predictions for the finals because we're not up to game, who's even going to be in game one there. But as you look ahead, just what would you say? Who could be 2 or 3 difference makers in the finals for the Montreal side? Maybe unexpected people other than ones we've been talking about.
Well, I think the role players, the guys that they brought in for size and toughness and grit, I think they're going to be so invaluable in this next series. Corey Perry's going to play a huge role. Joel Armia, I think, is going to be important. And then, obviously, the expected guys. I think Caulfield, the way he was dominating the game tonight, you can just see in his eyes that he knows he's the best player on the team, talent-wise. He's just getting better and better. I have a friend in the States that texted me tonight. He's a Jersey Devils fan, and he was saying, "I'll give you next year's first and 2023's first, and anybody you want for Cole Caulfield." So he's starting to get noticed, and justifiably so.
Yeah.
I saw a thing on the broadcast tonight. I don't know which broadcast you were watching, but I saw they were saying that J.J. Watt was tweeting out, the football player was tweeting about how Cole Caulfield was so great, and they were calling him his number one fan. But I might be up there. I'm just not as famous as J.J. Watt. Not yet, anyway. It's
interesting that with the dynamic. Within the team and the play of the team, I feel like we're actually witnessing the evolution of Caulfield's arrival in Montreal and his development into a key player within their offense. We're really witnessing that taking place in front of our eyes on a game-by-game basis. I mean, it's not like he's had the whole season to settle into that role and grow into it. I mean, this is happening in real time right in front of us in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, this year and all the games he's played, I think they said he had played 58 games up to tonight.
Did he have 58?
41 or 42 goals.
I thought you were in that. Okay.
That's all the games that he'd played. So he played 31 or 32 in college. Then he had the World Juniors, and he played 3 games with Laval in the AHL, and then he played 10 games with Montreal in the regular season, and now I guess 15 games in the playoffs.
Right. Yes. So yeah, I mean the time
that number works.
The time with Montreal in the regular season was shorter, and for him to have taken that short period of time and then the playoffs to develop into what he is with the team, it's stunning, right?
Well, and playing at this level where the games are intense, the the body checking and the hits are way more intense than they are in the regular season. It's a different level of game, and to step up and to be a dominant factor in that situation is incredible for a 20-year-old. Not to take anything away from a guy like Nick Suzuki, who's been fantastic too, and Kotkaniemi's been good. I often sit there and think about what would I be like at 20 years old coming into a situation like that. How many of us, including people that will watch this video, could take on the pressure that those kids take on at such a young age? It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. There are a lot of factors that not just the factors that we see on the ice, but a lot of off-ice factors as well that a lot of people don't think about.
So, what do you think? Do you think anybody that the crowd in Montreal will play a role in it, or being Canada's team? I know they've tried to get that going on the commercials about them being Canada's team. Do you think that it will be a factor?
I don't think it will be a factor for the veteran players, the Prices, the Perrys, right? Players like that. I mean, what you were saying about just their depth, their experience, their professionalism, I think it'll be water off a duck for them. I do wonder about the younger guys, though. Like, they're... How can they not be a little bit bright-eyed and, was wide-eyed and overwhelmed by the circumstances around them, and suddenly not just being, I mean, it's a big enough jump to be, an NHL star, but to suddenly also find yourself being put in this very odd position of not just an NHL star, but simultaneously carrying the banner almost like an Olympic-style banner. That's what's going to feel like in the next 2 weeks for the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
Odd feeling, I would have to think.
How much do you think that... how much do you think that would be related to what their personality makeup is? Because I look at kids like... Kotkaniemi, and I look at, if you ever watch him in the post game pressers, the get-ups that he has on with the fedora and the wild clothes, and I look at how happy Cole Caulfield is all the time, and the quiet swagger that Nick Suzuki has. I don't think it'll affect them that much. I think they're made differently than most players. If you look on the other side tonight, guys like Pacioretty, they get down on themselves. Mark Stone. He was not having fun. He's a great hockey player, but I think he puts a lot of emphasis on scoring goals, and because he wasn't allowing himself to enjoy the game. He's a great hockey player, but his attitude isn't good. He reminds me of a kid like Jake Virtanen with the Vancouver Canucks. All kinds of talent, but the attitude just isn't right, and there's just something a little off now. I think Stoney can overcome that, but it remains to be seen. I think how you're made will factors into it huge.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, some big questions to be answered, and be interesting to see. But no predictions for tonight, though, because we've got nothing left in this series to predict. We've already made our calls for tomorrow night's game in last night's video, and we'll put a link to that video at the end in the cards at the end of this video. And also for those of you who are just joining us for the first time here, we would appreciate a subscription to the channel, or give us a big like down below. It really helps the YouTube algorithm, so thank you for that. We'll also put a link to our website in the description below as well. So anyway, just Paul, honor of your team's victory tonight. Well done, Montreal Canadiens, puck right there, and congratulations to the Canadiens. Congratulations to you, Paul, because I know you're pretty pleased about your successful prediction on this outcome.
And I just like to say something to anybody that happens to watch these videos. If we say something that you disagree with it, absolutely comment about it. But don't take away the subscription. Stay with us. We'll do something better down the road that you'll like. So we'll try harder for you next time.
We'll keep going the extra mile. All right. Thanks a lot, everyone, for watching. Thanks. Good night, Paul, and good night, everybody.
Take care, guys.